Welcome to a Legendarium special about Ambroise Pare, medieval surgeon, royal doctor, and chronicler of monsters. In this episode, we will learn about a man who not only proved an accomplished surgeon, but gave us a tantalizing glimpse into the thought world of early modern Europe. Ambroise Pare was born sometime during the year 1510 in Bourg-Hersent in the Kingdom of France. Young Pare came of age during the High Renaissance, a time of deep fascination with unexplainable phenomena. A medieval belief in magic and the fantastic mingled with the emerging disciplines that would become modern science. Beyond that, very little is known about Pare's early life until 1533, when he moved to Paris and apprenticed himself to a barber surgeon at the Hôtel Dieu, headquarters for the surgeons of Paris. There he learned anatomy and surgery, and in 1537 Pare became an army surgeon. At the time Pare entered the army, surgeons treated gunshot wounds with boiling oil, since doctors of the time believed gunshot wounds to be poisonous. On one occasion, when Pare's supply of oil ran out, he treated the wounds with a mixture of egg yolk, rose oil, and turpentine. Pare found that the wounds he treated with this mixture healed better than those treated with scalding by boiling oil. Such achievements led many to revere Pare as the father of modern French surgery. Sometime later, Pare reported his findings in a 1545 book with the catchy title, "The Method of Treating Wounds Made by Harquebuses and Other Guns." At the time, many of Pare's fellow surgeons ridiculed him because he wrote the book in French rather than Latin. At the time, medical professionals wanted to keep their knowledge restricted to a tiny circle, and by publishing his work in French, the medical community feared Pare would reduce their profession to crass commercialism. That also meant many more people could read Pare's book, since more people read French than Latin. Yet, by doing this, Pare could introduce the general public to his revolutionary ideas. For example, Pare only resorted to surgery when absolutely necessary. In keeping with this, Pare revived the ancient practice of tying off large arteries during hemorrhaging. He hoped this would replace the then contemporary method of searing open blood vessels with hot irons to stop bleeding during amputation. And to avoid surgery on hernia patients, Pare simply castrated them, a brutal process to be sure, but one more likely to save their lives. Soldiers came to hold Pare in great reverence. His motto, inscribed above his chair in the College de Saint Cosme, reads, "I treated him, but God healed him." During his 15 years as an army surgeon, Pare gained such fame that he became surgeon to the king. In that office, Pare served 4 French monarchs: Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, and Henry III. During that time, Pare invented many new scientific instruments, including the truss used to treat hernias, and the implantation of teeth, artificial limbs, and even artificial eyes made from gold or silver. In 1554, he became a member of the College de Saint Cosme and earned freedom from taxation for the rest of his life. In 1563, after the siege of Rouen during the French Wars of Religion, he became royal chamberlain to King Charles IX. And during the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre of August 23, 1572, when rampaging mobs killed thousands of Protestants across Paris, Charles IX personally saved Pare by hiding him in the royal palace. Besides being a medical professional, Pare took a keen interest in monsters, inspired by vivid accounts delivered by mariners and merchants who then traveled the fast-expanding sea lanes as world trade grew larger and faster. Stories spread of exotic beasts like lions, camels, tigers, and elephants, yet most people had only a superficial knowledge of these extraordinary animals based on tales that grew taller in each telling. For example, Englishman William Horman claimed that a camel will bear more burden of packs than 3 horses and will go 100 miles in a day. Horman also claimed that the ostrich is the greatest of all birds and eats iron. Another tale told of dragons and elephants hating each other so much that they would kill each other upon sight. Because of such tales, the study of monsters became a legitimate science known as Monstrophy. Pare's 1580 book Monsters and Wonders is an account of the monsters he claimed to have observed or at least learned about. Pare wrote it to quench the thirst of those with a taste for the fantastic. Monsters and Wonders includes 38 chapters illustrated with 77 woodcuts depicting many types of monsters. In a very short preface, Pare defines monsters as all things that appear in addition to the course of nature. Those include children born with defects. He described a child with 2 heads and said, things that come against nature all at all. Pare then gave another example of a woman supposedly giving birth to a snake or a dog. Pare also described some recognizable beasts, such as the whale, which Pare described as a big fish monster. In time, his writings extend into half-human and half-beast monstrosities that supposedly populated the edges of the map. These included what Pare described as a pig with the head and face of a man, similarly hands and feet, and the rest like a pig. In one chapter, Pare wrote extensively about conjoined twins and claimed to have observed a pregnancy that produced 11 fetuses. Next, Pare listed fabulous animals and subspecies like an African chameleon endowed with wonderful properties, and a beast called Huspalim, big and very monstrous, with scarlet-red skin, round head like a ball, round flat feet without offensive nails. Pare also records tritons and mermaids supposedly living in the Nile River, which would probably come as a great surprise to the Egyptians. In the same section, Pare included the portrait of a so-called bird of paradise without feet or a beak and a body like that of a whale. Pare seems to have had a particular interest in the sea, calling it the prodigious pool that inhabits the fertile belly of the sea, mirror of the earth. Towards the end of the book, Pare described what he considers monstrous things like volcanism and earthquakes, though Pare described the most monstrous thing under the sun as underwater volcanism. Pare died on December 20th, 1590, and today a monument stands to him in the French city of Laval, near his birthplace. It seems a good tribute for a man who not only developed the medical profession and surgery, but gave us a glimpse into the fantastic thought world of post-Renaissance Europe. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.